besties! If you're like me and you are on the fence about whether or not to read This Book Will Bury Me by Ashley Winstead, let me tell you, I'm glad I did. There has been some controversy about this book because it is based on the University of Idaho case, but I was glad I read the author's note. I felt like she handled it very respectfully. I would suggest that you read the author's note. I think that would make you feel a lot better. She acknowledges in the note that it is, she has based it off of some true crime cases, University of Idaho being one. She talks about, how she tries to deal with it in a respectful manner. She says, in addition to drawing inspiration from real cases, readers should know this book deals with the loss of a parent, and includes scenes of violence and discussions of weight loss. Please take care of yourselves. Sending much love, Ashley Winstead. While This Book Will Bury Me is not meant to be nonfiction, it is my utmost wish that I've reflected details of the cases referenced in this book accurately and respectfully. In the University of Idaho case, which is still ongoing, I pray that the courts deliver justice. So, read the note in the front. I think you will be like me and find that it makes you feel really good about her handling of the case and everything. If you're not sure about this. And let me tell you, it was so good. In case you don't know what this is about, this story follows Jane Sharp, who, after the unexpected death of her father, becomes obsessed with trying to solve recent crimes, joining an online group of armchair detectives and internet sleuths. When 3 college girls in Delphine, Idaho are brutally unalived, she and this group will stop at nothing to try to solve this crime. But they are about to get way more than they bargained for. I really enjoyed the true crime message board group's dynamic. This story has a shocking twist that I did not see coming. It was a unique plot, and there's much more to it than just the parts that were taken from the real life Idaho case. I gave it 5 stars. Fantastic. Then next up, Wildlife by Kina Roberts. This is a memoir that reads like a thriller, and I love that. Let me tell you, chapter 1, just the title and the way it starts out grabbed me right away. The first 3 times I almost died. The first time I almost died, I was 6 months old. We had just moved to Kenya and were living in a small green house far out in the middle of the grasslands. My mother put me down to sleep in my crib with a candle burning on the windowsill, since I screamed if the room was completely dark. As the story goes, when she came back a little while later to see if I had fallen asleep, she found me no longer alone in my room, but suddenly in the company of a very large, very angry black mamba, a poisonous deadly snake. That's how it starts out. When I saw that, I was like, yes, please. I want to read this. Fantastic. Her parents were professors and primatologists who were studying monkeys in Africa. They went back and forth from Africa to the States, spending part of the year there, part of the year here, literally living in tents out in the wilds of Africa. It's a coming of age story. She basically is having to struggle with the difficulty of she has to be one person in Africa and another person here. She was bullied in school. They called her Monkey Girl and all kinds of stuff because she was so different from the rest of the, pampered, privileged suburban children. And here she was used to being out in the wilds of Africa, roughing it, So it was just, so many hair-raising, near-death experiences involving everything from hippos, lions, snakes, you name it. It was a very thrilling read. I gave it 5 stars. Then next, The Missing Half by Ashley Flowers. This is the story of 2 sisters who work together to try to solve the cold case of their 2 sisters' disappearances. There are shocking twists that I did not see coming, And at the same time, it's really a sweet story of the love between sisters. I gave this one 5 stars as well. Then I read another memoir, true story that, again, read like a thriller. I know this has been around for a long time, but I'm only just now reading it. Catch Me If You Can by Frank Abagnale. I thoroughly enjoyed this shocking true story of this brilliant con man. He masqueraded as a pilot, a lawyer, a doctor, and a professor, and cashed over $2.5 million in checks, fraudulent checks, all before he was 21. He was a high school dropout, but he was charismatic, very lucky, and very smart. I don't think he could have pulled that off these days because a lot of things have changed. I don't think he would have been able to pull off all the stuff, especially faking being a pilot with the tight security these days. I don't think he could do that. But it was very interesting. And what was really something is I was thinking if he had just applied the same energy and smarts to having a bona fide career, going to college and making something of himself, he could have really gotten far in life. Like, he was brilliant. Like, but he was a high school dropout, didn't go to college, I thought he could have really gone far had he tried, Also, of course, he eventually gets caught. And the story of how horrific and inhumane the conditions were in French prison. He was literally thrown into a dungeon. He had no bed. He had to sleep on a hard stone floor. He had to go to the bathroom in a bucket, and they didn't empty the bucket. The room was completely dark. There was no light. He was there for 6 months and just about went insane. Before eventually he was extradited back to the United States. It was just an incredible story. Highly recommended if you haven't read it. 5 stars. Then I had a bunch of DNFs. Now, some of these just were not my taste, but I'm not saying don't read them because you might like them. I wanted to try this one because it was about time travel. I don't always like science fiction, but I generally like time travel. But I don't know. For me, this just felt kind of boring. It wasn't going anywhere, I felt. I was wanting more action. So I DNF'd it. Same with this one. It just wasn't for me. I felt like there wasn't enough. I kind of like the story to get going right away. I like to jump in and just go full throttle. I usually don't like slow burn unless it's written really, really well. So these just weren't doing it for me. Same with this one. It just wasn't going anywhere. I just didn't care for it. Same with this one. I tend to be the type of person that I either love something or I hate it. So that's why a lot of times it's either 4 or 5 stars or it's DNF. Like, I'm not going to push through and read a 1 or 2 star book. I'm just going to DNF it. Now, I have read some 3 stars where I wanted to finish reading it, but I didn't love it. And then the big disappointment was this one. I thought it was going to be this delightfully spooky, creepy ghost story, and it was just boring. I read probably about a quarter of the way through, and it was just moving too slowly for me. Nothing was happening. Maybe, if you decide to read it and you get all the way to the end, maybe it gets better. I wasn't willing to wait for it to get better. The cover set my expectations high. I was like, oh, that looks so scary. Yes. But it just did not live up to the expectations for me. Okay, so I will see you all next time for a book haul. Thanks so much for watching and being my besties. I appreciate it. Help me out with a like, comment. I love to talk to you all in the comments. And if you're not already subscribed, please subscribe. And I will see you all next time. Bye.